Yo, welcome to OneThird. This is episode 38. You sleep for OneThird, you work for OneThird. What are you going to do with the rest?
So today, our topics, we got two topics, and they relate very closely to each other, but in certain ways they are very different. So our first topic that we're going to get to is luck. Do we believe that luck is real? Are there things that we do to change our luck, or are there things that other people maybe do to change their luck, like superstitions and stuff like that? And then the second topic we're going to get into, and that's after we've already discussed luck, we're going to talk about karma and how that maybe plays a part in our luck, or maybe how unlucky we are. But for now, let's start with luck. So I'm going to give you guys a question, and you guys answer it to the best of your ability, I guess. Do you guys believe in luck? And if you do believe in luck, do you guys think that luck is that we can change our own luck for the good or for the worse?
Go ahead.
That's a good question. I gotta change this. I'd say, for me personally, I'd say you probably can.
And why do you say that? Like, give me kind of an example of what you would think of when you think of changing your own luck.
In like what way though?
Like, do you want to make yourself more lucky in certain ways? Like other people.
I'm saying you have to still put, like, you can't just get lucky, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you're right.
you got, like, if you want to get lucky, you got to put the work in, and then maybe get lucky at the end with, like, some, like, connection or something good happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in saying that, there are some kind of, like I said, rituals, like a rabbit's foot. There's stuff like that that people use to kind of think that they're making themselves more lucky. Like, say you have a lucky shirt that you always wear at the basketball game.
Yeah.
And that shirt's tied to many victories.
Yeah, I know what
or,
you mean.
you know what I'm saying? Certain different things that you do to get when you get out of the bed just to make the day.
I feel like that's more mental.
And so, do you think that changes your luck, though?
I feel like it would make you, like, I don't think it would change the luck, but I think it makes you, it's like your mind making you think that it's luck. You know what I'm saying? So you want to just
So it's kind of
make
like
it think it.
So it's kind of like tricking the brain in
Yeah,
order to.
I think it's like tricking the brain a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Like if you wear like your favorite shirt, that's like you think that's like gonna make you do better, then wear it. Cause what if it does make you do better? You know what I mean? It makes maybe makes you pushes you harder or something.
But then would you say that is changing your own luck in a certain way?
Yeah, I guess so.
Because it's supernatural, regardless of whether you're tricking your brain or not. It's not intentional, technically. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's intentional to do that ritual, but doing that ritual is not necessarily going to equal you being better. You know what I'm saying?
What do you
Something
think, Tyson?
else adds on to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the whole like lucky shirt thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've never really been a big fan of that, because I feel like if you kind of rely on that.
That's what I
at the end of
mean.
the day, like not necessarily like you said, because it's it could just be like an addition. You know what I'm saying? It might not necessarily be super huge in that game or whatever the case. But I know a lot of people who are like die hard about that. You know what I mean? Had to have their socks, had to have that bracelet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I wore a bracelet for a while when I played soccer too, and I don't remember if it was with like a group of friends or even my mom. I don't remember what it was, but I had a bracelet that I wore and it was connected to that. So I always had a superstition that I had to wear it. And in soccer, they ask you to take off all jewelry and all that kind of crap, right? So I tied it in with my shorts because I had to make sure I had it. But at the end of the day, I really don't think it affected how I performed.
So, in saying that, like, do you believe in luck, I guess, and do you believe that we can change our luck in certain ways? Like, what's your view on that?
I definitely believe in luck, but I just don't know how big of a factor it plays. You know what I mean? Like, I personally, damn, that's a tough question, because I think I'll say that I don't think we can change our luck, but then my explanation to it would kind of be like we can change our luck. You know what I'm trying to say? So I don't really think that we can change our luck single-handedly, but I think that with putting good energy out there, and maybe, I don't know, doing good deeds or grabbing a coffee for the homies or paying for the person behind you every once in a while, whatever the case, I think that doing that can like potentially help your luck, but I think you shouldn't do it for that purpose. Because if you do it for that purpose, then
you only expect something, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you yourself know what you're doing it for. You know if you're doing it for the goodness out of your heart, or if you're doing it because in the future you want something good to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that would kind of be like that kind of ties to your explanation of you not liking having the superstition like the shirt or say the socks because you're doing it specifically to be more lucky.
Yeah, like for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I'd rather just do it, like be supernatural and just let it come out, and then whatever comes, comes. I've been trying to do that recently because I think that for like, I don't know, a good like half a year ago to a year ago, I was doing things because I wanted something out of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when I would do it, I'd probably do it for a decent amount of time, put a good chunk of effort into it, and I wouldn't get what I expected out. And I was like, oh, damn.
And you just don't feel as fulfilled.
Hell yeah. It actually, like, not going to lie, a little bit sad because you're a little bit let down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you build up an expectation of this,
100%.
whatever it may be, insert the name for whatever circumstance you guys have in your life. And then once you get there and say it doesn't meet that expectation or that thing that you wanted to happen doesn't happen, it kind of leaves you with a little hole,
Definitely.
I guess, for a figure of speech.
Definitely. So that's, to relate it back to luck, I think that we can't control it, and I think that we shouldn't try. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You try and be natural. What
Yeah,
were you going to
and
say?
I was gonna say, I feel like what's meant to be is just like happens. You know what I mean? Like if it's supposed to be like that way, it's supposed to be like that. You know what I mean? You can't really change it. Like if something's gonna happen to you, I feel like it's going to happen to you regardless. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I don't feel like
I can see the angle that you're coming at.
yeah, like I don't think that like obviously you can change the way you want things and which direction you want to go to, but I feel like if that's like your whole goal, like I think you're gonna be able to get that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where I feel like the luck or whatever could play a part because it may be able to come in the end a little bit, or maybe in the
give you a
beginning.
little
Or,
boost.
yeah, maybe in the or you never know when it can come.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
At some point, you
At
might get an
some
extra little
point,
break.
that's what I
guess.
mean.
Some people say, "Give me a break."
Yeah,
And I think the only way to truly get there is by being pure the whole time.
that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Go through the whole way.
For sure, I agree. Jackson, let's hear your take because we
See-
didn't hear that yet.
See, for me, I wouldn't say that. I don't believe that there's a such thing as good luck and bad luck, but I do believe there is a such thing as luck
Just like in general.
in general. Yeah, because like
Kind of like that take.
let's say that you might say something's bad luck. So say something happened to you that you might think is the worst thing that could happen to you, but 2 years down the road, you realize that bad event was actually very beneficial for you. So at the time, you would have said, "Oh, my luck is so bad this happened to me." But in the future, you might say, "Oh, my luck is so good that happened to me, and it changed me for the better." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Definitely.
for instance, I'll give a little bit of my life. When I crashed my car, initially, I thought that was the most unlucky thing that could happen to me. Even though deep down I knew it was going to happen. I went into the winter, I had that feeling. I knew I was going to crash the car.
It's crazy. We talked about all this kind of stuff. That's so wild how it comes full circle. But continue your story.
Yeah, so, after I finished paying off all my debt, after I finished paying off everything that had the car, sold the car, I no longer had the car in my possession, I realized that crashing my car at the age that I did, at the time that I did, was probably one of the most beneficial things at that time that could happen to me.
Sure.
So that's kind of like, just to bring it back to luck, at the time, I thought it was terrible luck, but give it a few years, and I'm like, that's like one of the luckiest things that could have happened to me, not knowing it. So
Most definitely.
in saying that, I do believe that things are lucky. Like, lucky things happen to you. It's just the way that you view them. You got to view what happens to you in certain different lights, and obviously it takes time for that light to shine through.
Yeah.
But on the other side of saying, do we have, like, can we change our luck? I do agree with you, Tyson. Like, I don't think that personally you can change your luck. You can change what happens to you and how you react to it, but you can't change, I guess, the supernatural force.
Yeah, like
for lack of a
probability,
better,
right?
yeah, probability
Yeah.
for the lack of a
You
better
can't
word.
change that.
You're gonna roll the dice. The dice is gonna
You're gonna
hit
get
a
what
number.
you get. You know what I'm saying?
And you just got to deal with that and adjust to it and see it in a different light. And sometimes
Sure.
it might be very lucky. But for the case, like Bashar said, when somebody wins the lottery, you might think that's luck, but a lot of people, they go through very, very, very tough times after they win the lottery,
Yeah.
both mentally, physically, and emotionally. And a lot of them lose all of the money within the first 5 to 10 years. Because
Crazy.
even though it might seem lucky to get all that money, it's very unlucky in a sense that they're not ready to handle it. they're not ready for that money emotionally, mentally. They might think that they want it, but they can't actually handle that big amount that's coming into them, and they just lose it all.
Yeah,
What
they
would
weren't
be a
ready for
big
such
amount, though?
situation like that.
A big amount is
Even
just
anything.
anything that they're not ready for. Like, obviously, I'm not talking about
100K?
anything under 100K,
Mhm.
because anything under 100K isn't really life-changing money. You're not gonna go quit
Yeah.
your job. You're gonna pay off all your debt. You're gonna pay off your house if you put a extra down payment on it, whatever you're gonna do. But 100K goes quick
It does.
nowadays.
Super.
I'm talking like anything over $1 million.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's life-changing money, and a lot of people can't handle that.
Definitely. And we could relate it to what we were saying before, because maybe, I'm not saying for everybody that has won the lottery, but in those scenarios where they lose the money fast, I think that maybe they weren't the most pure before that. Maybe they had a little bit of ill intent and weren't, I don't know, putting the good energy out there like we're trying to say, and it's how you get lucky. So then they got lucky, and then they weren't able to deal with it and be humble with it and be able to like put good energy out with their luck. Because I
Mhm.
personally think that it's kind of like winning and losing. You got to take your losses like you take your wins. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Mhm.
You got to take your wins just like your losses. Be very humble in your wins.
I think you gotta take your losses way better than your wins.
Me too.
And
But at the same time, I feel like taking your wins good and like reflecting on that is underrated. But go ahead.
I was gonna say it is a little greedy what I just said. Like, that is a little greedy, taking your losses way better than your wins and like not letting your wins truly fulfill you. But in the end, you can't let yourself be too happy over lucky things, because lucky things aren't consistent.
Definitely.
If you start to rely on lucky things to happen in your life, when your life is just normal, when it's not peaking up or peaking down, you're going to do things that are more risky to try to get that luck back. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to live your life normally, regularly, and just accepting what happens to you. You're going to always be looking for that next lucky thing to happen to you.
Yeah, I was kind of like that at first with the podcast, hoping they would blow up even like way before we even started getting close to posting. I was like, man, I hope it blows up,
Mhm.
But now it's just like
Oh,
doing it.
process.
Yeah, doing it for the goodness of like learning and all
And,
that kind
I
of
mean,
stuff.
you
is
know
way
what?
better.
It could. At some point, it could go from 100 to 1,000 to 10,000.
100%.
Mhm.
But in saying that, that's like I said, man, 10-year goal.
And when that time comes, hitting the lottery, when we get that 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, a
Mhm.
million, when the lottery comes or whatever the case, I want to be able to handle it because we have put in so much time of hard work
Mhm.
that it feels like it's deserved.
It's
Now
not
it's-
like a.
I was actually gonna say that, like, no overnight successes are made in one night.
You can kind of relate that to exactly. And you can, if you look at all the overnight successes, they don't last a while. Same with the millionaire. That's kind of
Mhm.
like, I mean, a lottery winner, kind of an overnight success, right?
Mhm.
They didn't earn that money. They don't necessarily deserve it.
No, yeah,
It
well,
got given. It was a gift and a win.
it was a
very
win.
lucky win.
It was a
Yeah.
win, and I wouldn't say that they don't deserve it in a
Not
way,
everyone, but
because they are taking the risk. They are, buying that lottery ticket. If you win, you deserve it. You bought the lottery ticket, and if you chose your own numbers, like a lot of people do, if you have your own number system, those are the numbers that you've been doing every single
mhm,
week. You've been stuck into that routine for how long, right? So
definitely.
in a way, you do deserve it, but it's whether or not you're mentally prepared for what you deserve.
Would you guys rather win your first million or work for it?
Win. I don't go. I'll just say this. I don't care how it comes. The quicker it comes, the better. So if I can win it, then I can make 10 times that instead of working 10 times harder just to make that and then having to work 10 times harder to make 10 times that.
No, I know what you're saying. What about you, Shar?
I probably agree with that, Jackson.
Really?
Probably just give me the mill, man.
I
Like-
I definitely understand where you guys are coming from. Sorry, go ahead.
Cause like after you make that first like mill or 100K, well, I want to say you technically made it, but once you make that first 100K mill, you're only gonna get more. You know what I'm saying? Like you're only gonna make more. I feel like there's no way you lose that unless you're just freaking don't know how to manage it whatsoever.
yeah.
You know
In
what I'm
saying that,
I
like
understand.
I'm very good with money. So I mentally and emotionally would be able to handle that amount of money. Like we talked about, a lot of people aren't mentally.
Can you though?
Yeah, I can, 100%.
Because we don't have it to
I'm
know.
not, but I'm not a materialistic
You know what I'm
type of
saying?
person.
But-
I don't spend money on clothes. I'm
How
I
much
don't-
money would you spend on gambling, though?
just saying that. I've actually been
I'm
clean for like
dead,
2
bro.
months.
Yeah,
Damn, that's a good job, bro.
bro.
So
I'm gonna give you credit for that.
I give you
seriously.
credit
That's a good
too. The
job.
reason why you're not is because you have none to spend.
yeah.
But if you were to
So we
have,
don't necessarily know,
If
but I
we're-
understand
listen,
where you're coming
if we're
from.
gonna
Yeah,
get,
me too.
let's get into that for a second. I have in my career of gambling in the last year, and I could call it a career because I've wagered over $100,000.
He says, let's get into that for a sec.
Yeah, let's get into it. A sec. I've wagered. So if we're talking about luck, right? So this is a direct comparison to luck. I've wagered over $100,000. That means that spin for spin, I've spent $100,000 or more of cash while I'm gambling. And I'm only down like career all time like $500 to $800. So I have been very lucky in that sense.
There's no way you're down $800.
So
Yes,
with that
I'm
being
down
said,
$800. Only $800
So you're
out of
saying
my whole career.
how
Only
much
800.
profits have you taken away?
Nothing. But I have spent it on my life. So you might think like the profit that I see would be like I've not had a job for the last 7 months. And I've only spent $200 in 7 months of my own cash. Like I'm only down $200 compared to what I had 7 months ago.
No, I understand.
But I've been living every single day, getting meals, spending money on frivolous things here and there, right? Spending money around. But
no, I understand.
I would say
pretty
that
much breaking even every day type shit, right?
total money I've spent out of the money that I've earned is like $2K.
No, I understand.
So I spent $2K like on frivolous things, whatever. It's gone, poof. And then the rest of that just got reinvested into my gambling.
No, I understand.
And because of that,
if you
like,
do it healthy, you can do it.
I've had very, very lucky wins, and I've had a very good gambling career. I can honestly say that I've been one of the luckiest people when it comes to that, because the fact that I've wagered over $100,000 and spent over 1,000 hours gambling, and I'm only down $800, most people can't say that.
Yeah, that's true.
And so in that sense, I'm very lucky that I've had the opportunity to experience that side of life and experience the risk and the reward and the thrill that comes with it. And I can honestly say that I'm pretty gambled out, man.
Really?
Yeah. Like gambling is a very stressful thing when you aren't winning, and it gets to you, man, over
You're
time.
always thinking about your damn cash. Is that why?
Yeah. It gets to you over time. And even if you have the cash, it's like the games don't operate the way you want them to. Like you said, when you have an expectation, like I've had over the last 7 months, I've grown a very good expectation of gambling because of the wins that I've been through. And now it's like when it doesn't live up to that, I'm just like sick of it. I'm like, I don't really want to. The thrill's not really there anymore. You know what I'm saying? The thrill was there before because I was winning a lot, and now that I've seen the other side of gambling, so I've seen both sides of gambling essentially. I've been on both sides of the teeter-totter multiple times, up and down, and when you get to a certain point, it's like, yeah, it's fun and all, but essentially it's just a waste of time at the end of the day.
I know what you're saying. There's probably a healthy amount of letdown that comes with all that, man.
It is, man. Like there's days where you lose $800, and there's days where you win 1,000. I'm not even gonna lie. I've had days where I've gone down $1,000 in a day. I've also had days where I've cashed out $1,200 in that day. So it's like
hit and miss.
Yes, exactly. And that's $1,200 after 9 hours of gambling, literally.
That's crazy. I can imagine, man. I really wish that you recorded some of it because I know it'd be so
fun. We got some streams, man. They were fun.
They were fun. See, and that's the thing. Like I can look back on that, and that's what helps me not gamble. I can look back at those days that I had really good days. Like New Year's, man. This New Year's probably one of the best gambling days I've had in my entire life. That's crazy. And I only gambled for 5 hours, but I made like $1,500 that day.
You got people to come in and try to say, yo, play this game, buy this, buy that.
Yeah, people are greedy when you gambling online.
Because they're not doing it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They just want you to waste money.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's so
but
funny.
Getting into that, like, bringing it back to what we were talking about, I can handle the $1 million because I'm at the point in my life where I don't care about spending money like that. I just care about spending money on the necessities. Yeah, I enjoy having, like, entertainment, right? I would love to start going to like movies and stuff, going out to like, go-karting, little things like that.
Yeah.
But like I'm not about spending that vast majority of money. I would rather have freedom. And freedom is only bought. Freedom isn't earned.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
If we had $1 million right now, man.
If I had $1 million, I would invest it and I would never work another day in my life.
I understand what you guys are saying.
Dead honest.
With the $1 million thing, the whole question, I definitely, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about winning no $1 million. I would love to win $1 million.
That's what I'm saying.
But you would rather earn it?
I think so. I think that if like my personality and how like certain things have affected me and how I've learned certain things affect me, I think that I need to work for stuff, man. When I'm given stuff, it doesn't feel
doesn't fill the hole.
No, man, I'm like left with that same hole for sure. I'll be that millionaire dude or whatever that isn't happy because I'm like, damn, I got given this, man. What did I do to earn this? I want the first million to be tough. I want to earn it through this. I want to earn it through
Blood, sweat, and
trying to
tears,
contact. Yeah, I want to go to meetings with people and explain our ideas and have them laugh in our face. I'm not even gonna lie. I want that. I want to get embarrassed on the biggest scale in the world. I'm not even gonna lie, but I want to go through that. So then when all the good times do come, I can look back and be like, yo, I've been through it all, man. So bring anything my way.
And that's kind of like my story with like the gambling. That's like the same sense. Like I was up on the fucking pedestal at the very top, and boom, at the very bottom of the pedestal the next day. Like,
but it's a journey. You learn.
yeah, it makes you enjoy the ups more, I guess you could say. It makes you enjoy the taste of the reward, I guess.
Kind of sounds cliche, but that's what they say about what are sunny days without rainy days?
What is life without death?
Exactly.
You can't have life without death. You can't have the good without the bad.
100%, man.
And like that, and that's to kind of swing it back to what I was talking about earlier. That's why I don't believe that there's a such thing as good luck and bad luck, because the luck can't be good or bad. It's how you view what happens to you that determines whether it's good or bad.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
I just wanted to touch something you said with your story because it explained. I mean, it kind of related to what we talked about a couple podcasts ago when you were talking about your Mustang with the how.
I didn't even say what car it was. Yeah, it was a Mustang, guys.
Yeah,
Sorry, it was a
Stang banger.
Mustang.
I think it was
Coupe.
beautiful. I think it was beautiful.
But yeah, it was the best circumstance. It was the luckiest car that I could have ever got. Let's just say that. It was. Luckiest situation. I paid half price for the car.
Bro.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get into that.
It's sad. I'm gonna start crying.
It is sad.
Whatever.
But like you said, how at first you thought it was really unlucky, and then a couple years later you realized how it was going to be better. It's crazy because we kind of talked about that with System 1 and System 2. It's kind of the same thing, but in the meantime, maybe the System 1 just took a little longer in that sense. Where you're like, damn, I crashed, and then System 2 came over, and you're like, oh, this is way better.
Yeah.
Like relates to it in a sense.
I don't know if that can really apply to that certain scenario, because the reason years later I realized that it was good luck was because of the circumstances that happened after that happened. So like, for instance, the only reason I'm kind of close to my parents right now is because I relied on them to use the car. So if I didn't need that car, if I didn't use the vibe, if I didn't need the vibe, I guarantee my relationship with my parents wouldn't be what it is today because of that reliance that I had on them. So in that sense, that's where I realized that, and just to add on top, like obviously the money too. Like I lost a lot of money in that mistake, and I lost a lot of time that I had invested into making the money, keeping the car nice and clean. That car was cleanest thing I ever owned. Put a lot of effort into it. But besides the money, like just the relationships and the way I viewed my time, like if I still had the Mustang, I probably would have had a full-time job by now.
Yeah.
Because I would have had the opportunity to have a full-time job. So I wouldn't have worked at Balk Barn. I would have been working a full-time job, and this probably wouldn't be a thing. I'll be honest. The podcast probably would not be a thing if I didn't crash the Mustang. Because after the Mustang, I had all the money to put into Money Team Men, which technically started this whole thing.
No, I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? I had all the money to put into the drop shipping. I had all the money like that. And it's just a combination of all those different things that wouldn't have been there for me if I was still spending money and driving the Mustang. You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand.
That's why I say that it was a very lucky thing, but just it was unfortunate.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. In a sense, all I mean to say is that it's kind of crazy how after the long term, your System 2 can kind of just like look at situations completely different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I say everything's meant to be, man. That's
I was just about to ask
you know
that
what I'm
goddamn
saying?
question. Do you guys believe in this, man? I want to hear what Bashar has to say first because you just responded to it. But do you guys think that everything happens for a reason?
Yes.
Why do you think?
I genuinely think everything happens for a reason. I don't
It
know.
kind of sounds cliche, but like
It sounds a little bit cliche. I don't know if I have like a reasoning to it, but I just like strongly believe it. I don't know why. 'Cause like I don't know. I mean, it does a little bit sound cliche 'cause sometimes what if that wasn't supposed to be? You know what I'm saying? What if that wasn't? Like what happens if you got, I don't know, there was like a guy that looks like you that did something, and then you got, you know what I'm saying? You got picked to be that person. Now you're going to jail or something. when it's the other guy. You know what I'm saying?
That's
It's
actually
a super
funny.
unfortunate
like,
situation.
it's a very unfortunate. Like that wasn't supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
On a side note, that actually happened to my dad when he was trying to adopt me.
Really?
They thought he was a mobster from like a different country.
Serious?
Yeah, because there was a dude with the same name, Gary George, and he's a mobster from a different country. And they're like, hold on, you're trying to adopt somebody?
What, do you know what country?
I don't know the whole story, but I know that that's why it took them an extra like 3-4 months just to evaluate my adoption, because they were going through fighting that exact same thing that you said.
said.
Yeah,
I
a
love
mobster,
it.
so, like a bad dude. I'm talking motherfucker that has like criminal record, like murders. He has racketeering, like yeah, straight up
Yeah,
out of the
man.
gangland.
When I'm by myself, I'm gonna be doing some weird thinking about your pops. That's for damn sure.
Anyways, just to get into what Bashar was saying, I am on the different end of the spectrum. I don't believe that things happen for a reason. I believe that life is just a bunch of different paths, and every choice you make at every single second of the path changes your outcome. So let's put an instance into the Mustang. The day that I crashed that Mustang, I was actually waiting at school for like 5 minutes longer because I was waiting for Ab, because I told Ab that I would drive him home. So if I don't tell Ab that I'm driving him home and I don't wait that extra 15 minutes, I don't crash the Mustang. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I'm saying. You know what I mean?
But my decision led to that. You know, like it's not like that was
But
technically meant to be. It was just I decided that that's what was gonna happen.
but that's why I'm saying, like, that's why I think that everything happens for a reason, because you decided that you were gonna wait for him. You know what I mean?
But I also believe that there's, and this might sound a little bit, you know, I'm gonna be a little unpopular with this, but I believe that there's multiple universes where the opposite of what your decision happens as well. So I believe you right now, that might happen to you because you made that decision. But on the other side of that, you in a different time realm, a different universe, he makes the opposite decision and the opposite thing happens to him. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, yes, in a way, I think that we say things are meant to be to kind of ease our brain and to kind of give us the kind of, you know, closure for certain things that happen to us. But I believe at the end of the day, everything that happens is just your decisions.
But some things you can't control.
Like what?
Like a lot.
Like
Like there's a
what?
lot of
I think
things
there's
that
uncontrollable scenarios.
there's lots of uncontrollable scenarios.
I
I
think-
had to learn not to stress about those.
I think you can control about 90% of everything in your life.
Man, if
From
there's
the
an
dec-
actual percentage, man, I
From the
think it's way
decisions that
lower.
you make every single day, if you really look deep down at your decisions, I feel like you can control about 90% of what happens. Let's say you want to not get robbed. Well, first off, you need to make sure that you're putting yourself in the best class areas with the least crime. You know what I'm saying?
No, I
Like,
know what you're
if you're
saying,
living in
but-
a low class area, whether it be your choice or not,
Mhm.
obviously that's something that you can't control, and that's a part of the 10%. You can't control necessarily how much money you make from time to time. Obviously, you can work up to a certain amount of money, but you got to
Mhm.
start somewhere, right? But if you're just thinking about the little things, like, hey, is this area good for raising a child? Is this area
No, I understand.
low crime? Like, there's a lot of things you can do to check off the list to make sure that certain things don't happen to you.
Damn, that's a super tough one, man. Because I think that everything happens for a reason. I really do think that, and I kind of agree with what Bashar was saying. I don't even know if I really have like an explanation that can explain it, but I really just feel like it happens for a reason. And I think that part of the reason is that the decisions we make every day, which is kind of what you're saying. So I kind of agree with both you guys, but yeah, I don't know if I really have an explanation. I think that the energy that you put out there, positive or negative, it kind of comes back. And we're gonna get into that karma. I don't really want to talk about it quite yet, but yeah, I think that everything happens for a reason, and that reason is just strictly the energy that you carry. But when we're talking about the whole other universe thing, I actually say that quite often, like in another life or
Yeah.
whatever the case.
And
You guys think that?
the easiest thing to relate to is just chaos. The world is just chaos, man. Things happen, and they don't necessarily have an order, but they just happen.
See, okay, I remember what I was gonna say. I agree with that, and that's why I kind of think that when you were saying that we can control like a large percent of our life,
Mhm.
I think it's so hard because I agree with that, and my explanation is kind of gonna contradict what I'm saying, but I think that we can't control our lives because everything is just so like you said, the world is chaos and everything
happens.
just gonna happen regardless. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm gonna say that it's all based on the energy we put out there. So if I'm putting out good energy all the time, I'm like practically controlling what happens to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I can agree. Yeah, exactly. So I can agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel like we don't have that much control. It's weird.
I feel like we believe we have less control than we do. I'll say that. I say that the human instinct tells us that we don't have control.
I feel like we're just like a lucky group of individuals, man. Because I feel like a lot of people don't have a say on what they can do. Do you know what I mean?
You gotta
That's
understand.
true.
Like
if
they just gotta go through what they're adapting to. Do you know what I mean? Like
No
they
matter
just
what.
no matter what, they just have that, man. They just go.
if you think about the things that I've been through in particular, I had no control over the first 8 years of my life.
That's what I'm saying. You couldn't control that.
But I can control my actions and how I adjust it.
100%.
So in
They
a
used to do
way,
some crazy
You
shit.
can only control a reaction.
yeah. So in a way, I can control what happened to me. So like, I can control my attitude, which might affect certain variables that'll happen to me. I can control my actions, which will also affect certain variables that'll happen to me. So in a way, I can narrow down the possible outcomes. Obviously, there's still outcomes that you can't control. There's fate. I guess you could call what you're trying to say. I guess I can kind of agree with a little bit. I call it fate. I don't really call it like it's meant to be. I just call it's fate, man. It's chaos. Some things you just can't predict in the world.
Understand.
There's some things that you truly can't predict. I do agree on that side. But most of the things, if you react to a certain situation in the right way, you can definitely control how the outcome will come. I think, at least. That's my opinion on that, anyways.
No, I understand that. It's hard to. I'm like on the fence.
Yeah, man. Let us know what you guys think. Like, do you guys believe that luck is real? Do you guys believe that you can control luck? Like, what are your viewpoints on what we just talked about right now? We'd love to know. Drop it in the comments.
Let us
Drop
know.
any suggestions you have, and I think we can kind of make a little segue into the second topic because we did a pretty good analysis of the first one, and I feel like we touched up on some things that are going to help us talk about the second one. So I'll start off with a little question. Let's just take a second, regroup, let him get the goop out of his eyes.
Gotta love it.
Gotta
Goop.
love it, right?
Goop.
Anyways,
Conjunctivitis.
so let's get into karma. I'm just gonna lay a question out there, and you guys respond however you like. How much do you guys think karma affects your everyday life / affects your luck? Do you guys think it has a big effect on you per se, or do you think that karma is just like a background force, kind of something that you don't really notice until later on in your life, until, like Tyson was saying, until your brain number 2 steps in?
Mm.
So what's your guys' opinion on that?
Karma in general, I'm a really big believer in karma. Do I think karma can change our luck? I don't know. I feel like they're so similar. Because, again, I'm going to say the same. I think that if you just continuously put super good energy out there, you're only going to get good energy. Like, obviously, bad scenarios are going to come, but if you're just a negative Nancy focused on, I don't know, maybe the worst things that are going on in your life, if there's a couple bad scenarios that have happened to you, if you're just dwelling on it and creating a pity party type thing, I think that that's just going to continue to come your way. So I think that, like, that's just a super, super simple way that I could put it. Like, energy is so huge in my opinion. So huge. That's why in my everyday practice, no matter if I get, like, disrespected out in public or whatever the case, you know what I mean? I try and always be respectful to a person because I feel like that's just my job. That's me putting out good energy no matter what. In King Richard, the movie about Venus and Serena Williams, their dad, he made them watch Cinderella. And the people were extremely disrespectful to Cinderella, and they were doing all types of bad things, talking behind her back, whoop-de-whoop, lying, all kinds of stuff. But she was still very respectful and very humble and told everybody yes and please and thank you, and just a very respectful, nice lady. And he asked the kids at the end of the movie, hey, what'd you guys take away from that? Like, oh, she has nice shoes, this, that, all the horse crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he's like, no, we're running this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we're running this back. You guys don't understand. And he had to explain to them, like, they were so disrespectful to her, and she still kept her cool. So that's what you guys have to do, and that really resonated with me. What about you guys?
It makes you just a stronger person, I feel.
So like
Like
just
going through stuff like that.
just
Kinda
to
just
relate
has
the
to do with
question
strength,
back,
right?
do you like
Yeah.
believe that karma can like change your luck or like change your everyday life kind of thing? Like, do you think it's a big factor, or do you think it's kind of in the background?
I kind of agree with what Tyson's saying. I kind of feel like they're kind of both the same thing. You know what I mean? They both piggyback off each other. I don't like. I like the whole like if you give out good vibes, give out good energy or whatever, and hopefully you get some in return or whatever the case is. But if you just keep doing that, you keep like doing your thing. I do feel like karma does play a part, but I don't know how much it really does. You know what I mean? Like how much does it really give you? Like how much does it? Like how real is it actually? Do you know what I mean? Is karma more like a mental thing or is it like actually real? Like what really is karma? Do you know what I mean? Like
That's a good question.
what can we
Karma's kind of, I guess you could say karma's kind of like when you do a ritual, like when you put on the shirt to make yourself lucky.
But when a bad person does something, what if you don't get bad karma back? You know what I'm saying?
And
Happens a lot.
my viewpoint is different from your guys. So like I'll say this, and this is kind of a saying. I don't remember where it's from, but I've heard it a couple of times, and it's the devil will ignore people who are doing bad things.
Mm-hmm.
So
of course, 'cause
bad,
that's his, like he doesn't need to help him anymore.
but bad energy will avoid bad energy. Bad energy is attracted to good energy, and good energy is attracted to bad energy. That's what I believe. So like, let's say this now. I'll just go back to the Mustang because that's like gonna be my story for today. And it kind of relates pretty well because when I had the Mustang, I was doing lots of things. Not necessarily for good karma, but I was paying for people's drinks behind me because I had the extra cash. I was leaving that door open for the extra person. I was going the extra mile to do good things and not necessarily for a good outcome. I was just doing it to do good things. But in the grand scheme of things, that didn't attract good energy for me. Like if you just look at the months after that, I had to repair my car, flush my keys down the toilet, crashed my car all in the same month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's after I've already been doing all these good things for months and months and months. So I feel like the more good energy you put out there, the more conflict you're going to get with bad energy. And you're just going to have to obviously evolve and adapt to not let that bad energy affect you. But I feel like that's why good things happen to bad people sometimes. Because you always see these like, I'm not going to pick no names, but there's a lot of movie stars who are not good people. They're not like emotionally, mentally, physically, they're not good people. They're very arrogant. They're very, I guess you could say they're but good things happen to them. And I don't know why. That's something that I've always thought to like try to explain why that happens. But I guess the best thing, that quote's the best thing that could explain it for myself, man. Good things. Like, God will ignore people who are doing good things, and the devil will ignore people who are doing bad things. So good energy is not necessarily going to come just because you're doing good things.
100%. We touched on that last podcast.
Yeah, more likely negative things are going to come to try to pull you back down, and you got to keep doing it. And that's kind of like what you were saying. You got to push through the bad things. You got to continue doing the good things even when the bad things are happening.
That's what I feel like when you continue to do that, even when bad things are happening, then in a very, very long and tedious marathon, it pays off.
But just to answer my own question, I think karma is a very background effect, but I also think that it's a placebo effect. We attract what we believe, right? So like if we believe we're doing good things, then in our mind, I guess we could say that we want good things to happen back.
I know what you're saying. See, and 100%. I had to take a completely different stance on that because you could say that before I was doing things just to get good things back. And like you were saying, nothing good was happening. I was getting left with a super empty void and my expectations were this high. And I'm like, I'm doing good things. I bought coffee. I did this. I held open the door. I said, please, whatever. Why is nothing good happening to me? But you can't do it for that. You know what I mean? And I think that a person that does do good things to get good things back, they have karma like too high on their importance maybe. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't even know if it's karma per se. I'd say a lot of it maybe might be their conscience.
Yeah,
They might have certain things in their life that they've done wrong that force them to want to do more good things to make up for those wrong things.
Yeah.
I think you got to do all goods with such a clear mind.
Yeah, I just say do it out of the goodness of your heart. Who cares if they don't like it, they take it the wrong way, as long as you did it, you know what I'm saying? Like, who cares? Like, as long as you thought about you doing it and you wanted to and you did it, who cares how they take it, you know what I mean?
100%. That's why I always say to me and Brianna, I'm like, as long as we stay respectful and we stay nice, no matter what the scenario is, we did our job.
That's what I mean.
Somebody can spit at me, disrespect me, go ahead, man. Have a good day.
You did your part.
Saying,
Mhm.
have a
Why
good day.
why argue? Why fight? Why?
Exactly.
Who cares?
It sucks being the bigger person all the time, but you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to. You know what
No,
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I feel like you just gotta, in a certain way, you just gotta throw your ego out. Ego gets in the way of a lot.
Ego gets away so much.
Mhm.
Ego and pride.
I learned to throw ego away very long
You
time
think
ago.
ego and pride are the same?
Pretty
No.
much.
No,
They're
no. You
similar.
can be prideful without having an ego,
That's true, actually, yeah.
but you can't have an ego without being prideful. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's vice. To have an ego, you need to have pride. But sometimes you can have pride without having an ego.
I know what you're saying. Pride can be used as a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Usually, ego is used for ambition.
Repping 1/3, that's pride. We have
Mhm.
pride in 1/3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have an ego about it.
Yeah,
saying
I'm
we're the
not
best podcast.
Yeah,
ever.
we're
Yeah.
number one out here.
Exactly.
know?
Yeah.
I agree.
But I definitely have pride in this, so I understand that.
You can have pride in something that you do very well, but you can also still be humble about doing it very well.
Definitely. With that question being said, I feel like too many people pride and ego are tied together though.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's what I was
That
about to
is
say.
true.
They get like released at the same
They
time.
don't know what that means. They don't know what ego means. You know what I mean? They don't know what pride means,
No,
man.
it's just like, oh,
Or they do
Yeah.
know what ego means, and ego is just high up on their pedestal.
People think
Some people are
ego
like that.
and cocky, or being cocky and having an ego, I think, or is it a different word?
that sounds similar. Those are like the same thing.
They're similar, right?
Yeah. Cocky and ego are pretty much same.
But it's good to have a little bit of ego.
That's what I mean.
I'd
You
say
know what I'm saying?
if you're
It's hard.
ambitious, if you're truly ambitious, like you truly want to succeed, you cannot succeed without an ego.
No, you need one.
Yeah, you can't because the only thing that's going to drive you to true success is an ego. No other emotion will drive you to true success. I don't care what it is, because at the end of the day, bad things are going to happen, like we've been talking about in this podcast, and the one thing that'll make you see the bigger picture, the one thing that'll make you see past it a lot of the time is that ego. Like, hey, regardless of what's happening, I'm the best at what I do. I'm going to push through. I'm going to still being the best at what I do. Regardless of
crazy.
whatever you do.
You have to know your self-worth, and like you said, knowing your self-worth like that, you have to have that ego, man.
Yeah, and I
do.
don't feel like you can be truly ambitious without an ego. You can succeed without an ego, but what does that success look like? Like, you can't make to that top 0.1% of society
Without one.
without an ego. It's not possible. It's physically, you will not make it there unless you're like a rich baby. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're
Unless
saying.
you already had that family money and you just
Rich
did good
baby.
things with it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Got the
Driving-
silver spoon.
Driving daddy Benz. Driving
it's-
daddy's Benz, you know what I mean?
Jeez. But no, I know what you guys are saying. I agree with
I
that
don't
for
know.
sure.
Karma's a little bit of a short one, man, because, like,
Yeah, that's shorter than I thought.
there's a lot of limited. It's like, I don't know.
Karma's a specific aspect of luck, I
Yeah.
guess. Because when
I
we
thought it was
think
gonna be the other way around.
when we think about luck, we think about karma and the good deeds and bad things we do most of the time when we relate what luck is to us. But like I said, luck's not necessarily, it can't be equated to just a certain emotion. It's not that regular, I guess you could say. Like,
Luck is like very broad.
I would say
Yeah.
luck is a lot more rare than karma. Karma is, you can see karma on an everyday scale
Yeah.
on the littlest things, right? Like, somebody will be a dick and cut you off, and then you're driving down the road a couple blocks and you see he's in an accident right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
That would be-
that's karma.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's driving like a dick. He's cutting people off, and it led to his, you know what I'm saying? His decisions led to that bad luck, and he got in an accident.
Happens all the time. Homie speeds right past me, something like that, and then we're both at the red light at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm like, bro, was it really worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
we're
Like,
in the same place.
those are the little things that we see that are karma. Those are the little everyday things, But what we talked about karma was, we talked about the big things in life. We talked about the end results. Like, can those be affected by karma? But I definitely do believe that everyday life has a little bit of karma in it to a
Okay.
certain extent. Obviously, like you said, the energy does equate to something. You put out,
Mhm.
you put your actions. I call it actions. You call it energy. They're both necessarily the same thing.
Exactly. We view it the same.
They're just different viewpoints. Like, actions, I say, are physical. You say energy is mental.
Mhm.
Like that's the difference between our viewpoints right there. But they're both the same at
We
the
can relate
end.
to the
You
same,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? They both are the same at the end. His actions led him to get in that crash, and his energy led him to get into that crash.
100%, man. I agree with that for sure. It's crazy. It sounds like all the time, like not necessarily going in a circle, but all this stuff is just so close knitted. You know what I mean?
Yep.
all these topics that we talk about are so close knitted in our mind. Like, although there's so much to know and there's so much aspects of our brain, I feel like it's so simple at the same time.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
you ever see one of those boards with like all the strings on it,
Uh-huh.
and it makes like a mosaic or like a picture?
Yeah.
That's essentially what all the emotions that we talk about on this podcast, they're all just a little blip on that canvas.
Crazy.
And the whole string is you. The portrait's you, but each little tick on that portrait that makes up who you are is kind of the emotions that we've been diving into on this podcast. And
I like that a lot.
a lot of it we'll continue to dive into, but at some point we will get to a point where we've explored most of that mosaic. We've explored most of who we are and what makes humans, I guess. Obviously, some of the viewpoints we don't have because we only have guys here. So
Yeah.
our demographic is a little bit split. We only got the boys side of the mosaic, right?
Hey,
There's-
soon we could potentially get a female guest in here
You're
and
right.
have her explain.
You're right. There's definitely different viewpoints, and at that point, you do realize that there's different ways of thinking, especially between the genders.
Yeah.
There's a big gap in the way the genders think.
Yep.
But
I like what you said when you said like that, those pictures with the strings or the pictures that hang off the ceiling, you know what I mean?
mhm,
And then if you walk over this way, you can't really see it, but then you have to go to a certain angle to see the beautiful
Mhm.
picture.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because I feel like that relates to the brain so much now that you say it, because it all depends on how we look at it.
mhm.
You could be over on that side and see like just a bunch of mess, like you said, a bunch of string or a bunch of stuff hanging from the roof. Then you go this way and you see a beautiful picture.
Or you go
Crazy.
too far that way, and it's the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, life is about balance.
Crazy, man.
We need to make a motto and put it on a shirt, and it's just gonna say, "Life is balance."
That
That's
will be.
it.
That'll be
right
one of
there.
our first damn merchandise things for sure.
Life is balance.
that's the
'Cause,
number one word.
and the thing is, a lot of people they only look at the strings from the side view.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't actually step back and talk about all the emotions that we're talking about right now. Actually discuss and debate. I guess you could say this podcast is just a healthy way of us having a debate.
Oh, 100%.
We're being humans on this podcast, and we're allowing each
Same.
other's viewpoints to be heard and to be challenged. Like, I
Before this
always try to
podcast.
make an effort to challenge your guys' viewpoints,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not I agree with them. I like playing devil's advocate. I'm a very good devil's advocate because I like seeing those other views and trying to figure out why you believe that and looking at your point. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Mm.
100%. This podcast is I didn't have any of these conversations before this podcast, is what I mean to say.
Mhm.
Same.
You know what I mean?
And I had them, but I had them with myself.
Mm.
That's only one viewpoint.
Yeah,
You can only have so many conversations with yourself
it's true.
until you need something else.
You can
start-
only learn so much with yourself, eh?
Pardon?
You can only learn so much with yourself. And then, like, you start to look at other people's aspects, and you're like, oh, other
Well,
people do view stuff
Yeah,
differently.
like the way I learn is I'm very good at playing devil's advocate with myself.
Mhm.
So like I'm very good at looking at just a random person on the road and debating why they're like that.
So I know
You
what
know what
you're
I'm saying? But we're without asking them. So obviously I don't have all the facts, and obviously I need extra viewpoints, but I still have a lot of different information that I can use to kind of make a portrait of who that person is in my head.
I know what you're saying.
So that's me, right? A lot of people don't have that, and I have that because of my circumstances, and I have that because of many years of isolation. So that's just like a different side of me, I guess. But it's healthy to have the conversation out loud every once in a
Oh,
while.
For sure.
I
I
feel like
agree 100%.
everybody needs to relate to that. I feel like a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have the ability to talk to themselves like that, and when they try to talk to other people like that, other people around them aren't as open.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like that's one thing we want to do with this podcast. We want to be very open with you guys.
Super.
Mhm.
We want to allow you guys to have a space where we learn, but at the same time, we learn.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
all
not
of us.
just us three learning right here. You guys should be able to
No.
take something away from this podcast, every single podcast, because we try to bring something new. And regardless of whether you agree with us or you don't, I mean, with us three, it's kind of hard not to have one person you agree with.
That's what I mean. You're gonna side with
Mhm.
somebody,
It's
more,
kind of hard not to, because we do have three pretty different views.
which is the
I
coolest part
agree.
about it. Coolest part about it. But I think that we honestly touched on that stuff pretty good.
On that note, guys, we're going to leave you guys with that podcast. Short and
Mhm.
sweet. Not as long as the other ones, but we still dived into our topics pretty good. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of OneThird Podcast. This was episode 38. You sleep for 1/3 of your life. You work for 1/3 of your life. What are you going to do with the rest?
Yes, sir.
We out.
Out.